In Book 10, Chapter 7 of Nicomachean Ethics, Aristotle reminds us that human flourishing is virtuous activity, activity in accordance with virtue. Therefore, the highest human good should be activity in accordance with the highest virtue, or rather with the virtue of the highest part of us, which is the intellect. The highest human good, then, is the activity we call contemplation. We can define contemplation as knowing for its own sake, knowing for the sake of knowing, without any further incentive or goal. This is knowing as good in itself, not as an instrumental good. We can think of examples. The historian who wants to find who was responsible for a massacre, not in order to bring justice, but simply because it is good to know the truth. Or the scientist who wants to know the genome of a flatworm, not because it will lead to cures in human medicine, but simply in order to know the truth about the animal in front of him. So Aristotle says the highest human good, ultimate human happiness, is knowing for its own sake, or contemplation. He then tells us 8 things about contemplation. First, contemplation is the highest activity of the highest element in us, our intellect, directed towards the highest objects of knowing. These would be divinity, or God, which we will hear more about later. Second, contemplation is the most continuous human activity. Although we cannot do any single act without stopping, knowing is the activity we can do most continuously of all. Third, contemplation is pleasant to do, and its pleasures have a special purity and stability about them, Aristotle says. Fourth, contemplation is the most self-sufficient of human activities. It needs few or no external goods. Justice requires other people, but contemplation can be done by the wise man by himself. For examples, think of Socrates and Boethius in prison. Fifth, contemplation is desired for its own sake. It is not an instrumental good. It produces no product except for knowledge and the state of having contemplated. Sixth, contemplation is superior to the activities of politics and warfare. Both of these involve exertion, which contemplation does not, and both are instrumental in nature. We do them for the sake of the common good, or victory in war. Contemplation, Aristotle adds, seems to have a superior seriousness about it. Seventh, a life spent in contemplation is superior to a merely human life. Here, Aristotle raises an important point about our ability to transcend this world through contemplative activity. Contemplation, he says, is an activity of the divine element in us, which is our intellect. We should reject the advice of the poet who tells us to live as humans because we are human. Instead, we should pursue intellectual excellence, and through contemplation try to take on immortality as much as possible. The idea that intellectual contemplation will allow us to become something better than merely human is an important idea that Aquinas will take up in his own writings much later. Lastly, contemplation is natural to man. A life lived in accord with the intellect, more than anything else, constitutes humanity. What makes us human is not our bodily existence, our digestion or sexuality or social existence. It is our ability to contemplate divine things and the whole of the cosmos that makes us human.